bonjour, ça va? Comment allez-vous to people of age? So I'm just sharing stuff on my Facebook page, just so that some people could see that I've gone live, and can have lots of people watching me. Lots of people watching me. Oh, I didn't share it. You're wondering what I do at the beginning of streams. This is what I do. Now it's shared on Facebook. Just let me write in that it's live, just in case people don't understand that they can watch me live now. I'm not recorded, I am live. When I first started live streaming, it was many years ago, and you know, it was the beginning of all the streaming stuff that was happening, and some people used to think that that I could see them when I was streaming, and so they would be sitting there all dressed appropriately, sitting appropriately, thinking I could see them, which I used to find very humorous. So if you're sitting there thinking I can see you, I can't. So welcome to live stream. I can't play any music for you guys because I keep getting it blocked, which you then can undo, but it takes ages, so it doesn't get unblocked for a long time. And yeah, so I just give up on playing music. I really like doing it before I talk. I just don't feel ready to just start talking when I come and sit down like this. I just like sitting in silence or listening to music for a while. Maybe I could put my earphones in and listen to music on my iPhone and you guys just can't hear it. You can put your own music on. Feels something odd about that, doesn't it? We all have to be listening to the same music. If this is your first time live on my stream, then I'm going to tell you how it works. Firstly, I can't see you, so you can relax. You can sit there, you know, with your hand down your pants. Oh no, that sounds really rude. I just meant it as in, like, if you're relaxed, you put your hands down your pants, but don't put your hands down your pants. Keep them above board so everyone can see them. On the table, hands on the table. So keep your hands on the table, but you can relax apart from that. Take a drink, you know. Sit back. So I can't see you. You can see me, but I can't see you. I know it's a weird phenomenon. If that happened 100 years ago, people would be totally freaked out by it. If you want to speak to me, then you do it through Skype. I know that we're doing this through YouTube, so you presume that you could speak to me through YouTube, but actually I don't really read those comments on the YouTube. I tend to do it through Skype because then you can call in and it's all set up with my computer. If you want to call in, then please make sure you've got a headset with a microphone in, otherwise the echo and the feedback is really bad. So something like this. You could have a proper setup like I do with, you know, like a proper microphone attached to your bra and headset, but if you're not able to do that, then just a headset's fine. Obviously you have to plug it into your computer, like not just a headset that's not plugged in, it's to be plugged in and set up with Skype. You can also write me a question as well. So you just write that and send me a question. I don't answer all of them. I tend to select what I'm interested in reading, but sometimes when there's lots, I don't even get to read through them like that. If there's not very many, then I tend to read all of them. It would be fair if I didn't edit. Most of the time I don't, but sometimes I do. If you want to come to an event, the next event that I'm doing is, I'm doing a meditation but this weekend, but I think I'm going to have to cancel them because nobody books it. That's funny. That makes me chuckle. Like, I love sitting in silence, but it really doesn't seem like a popular thing for people. So I think I'm going to cancel it. I have one person booked on. So I have that this weekend, but I think next weekend I will cancel that. And if I do a talking, so if I did like an online event where I was talking, then people would book on, but when it's silent sitting, people don't. I think it's really beautiful to silently sit. And I think it's really supportive, because if I didn't sit with you, I don't think that a lot of people would actually do it. Okay, but the next event I have is 8-night retreat in the south of Spain, which is the 27th of October to the 4th of November. So it's a Saturday to a Sunday. So it's 8 nights, which is really nice, because sometimes 7 nights is not quite enough, because that's only 6.5 days, but this is 7 full days and then 2 half days, I think. That's how it works out. Very nice. Then I'm doing a retreat in Tiruvannamalai, India, the 13th of January 2019 to the 20th. And before that, I'm doing 6 talks in Tiruvannamalai. And then that's the 6th to the 12th of January. And then after that, in the week of the 20th to the 31st, I'll be doing talks in Arable, Goa. I haven't put this on my website yet, though. And then from about the 2nd to the 8th of February, I'll be doing talks in Rishikesh, which is super exciting, but I just haven't put that up yet. That is all the advertisement out of the way. What to do now? Start talking now? Sitting in silence? Maybe take a few minutes in silence. I know that's the least popular, because most people's attitude is that you've got to always do something, and if you're not doing something, then you're not being productive. You've always got to work towards something. And sometimes maybe people feel really uncomfortable and they just sit there. I was really lucky. I got into meditation when I was super young, and I was really uncomfortable, but they gave you a big fat carrot. You know, when I first started sitting, my mind would go crazy. Like I remember the first time I tried to meditate, like it felt like there was a sun in my head, like a bouncy ball, you know, like bouncing around my head, like really fast forward, like boom, 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 boom. And then thoughts and chatter. It was so overwhelming. But they, you know, gave you this big carrot of enlightenment, that if you sat and meditated enough, then you could become enlightened. And at the time, I thought that enlightenment meant, you know, walking through walls, going back in time, having superpowers. So I was super motivated to meditate. And I'm really grateful that that is the way that this life panned out. But if it did pan out another way, then that's okay too. Because it forced me to sit for, I think, 4 or 5 years. I was practicing with them for very long periods of time. And like anything, when you do something for a long time, you begin to get used to it. And now just sitting for me is very pleasurable. Being by myself is very pleasurable. I used to find it hard being by myself or not having activities, whereas now I cannot have activities for a very long period of time. Be fine. Anyway, I'm also a bit of a talker as well. Okay, silence. Just trying to get the microphone right. Hello, hello, hello. I just remembered I turned my audio down for one of my sessions. So today's subject was I've forgotten. Let me just read it out again. Understanding non-duality versus an energetic shift. So there can be a seeing with the mind, with your thinking mind, of consciousness. The thoughts can recognize that consciousness is looking at the thoughts. And this can be really beautiful and really profound. And normally it comes as some sort of mini awakening where it's suddenly seen that consciousness is experiencing everything, and the personality structure and everything you took yourself to be comes and goes in that. So your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your body, your pains, your pleasures, your memories, your ideas, your intelligence, everything comes and goes in this, in what is, in this empty looking that's experiencing itself as everything and nothing. And it's not you experiencing, you are being experienced. So it can sort of be this mini awakening, and then this sense, like your mind knows, there's something that knows it and sort of turns around and looks at consciousness looking at the person. And that's really profound, and that's part of an awakening process for the apparent person. But in that there is still seeking, so the personality structure is still seeking to either stay in that, or seeking for a feeling of love, or seeking to get to something. It's still uncomfortable. And then at some point an energetic shift happens, and this energetic shift can pulse for many years. And it's like before, what was experiencing life was a limited person, and then it's that something, this energy shifts, and there's something else that's experiencing. And this something else doesn't have a shape or a size or a limit or a feeling or a colour. If you did name it to something, you'd call it love. And it's empty, it's not anything, and it's all things. And I can't tell you why that shift happens. It seems predominantly to be the end of seeking, although there could still be seeking patterns that arrive in the body-mind, like the body-mind, from my experience, takes a while to, or takes forever, infinite time to settle down more and more to that realization. Like old seeking patterns, like looking for validation, or like from your partner or something, or behaving in a certain way, can still come up, but there's this shift that's happened where it's just known what you are, and it's no longer this person looking out, experiencing life. There's nothing experiencing life. And that can have a huge effect on the personality structure. That can change a lot of things in the personality structure, but it's not really about that. And I really don't know what it looks like in the personality structure. I try to figure it out, and people have lots of ideas that you have to get to the end of conditioning, or always be happy, or always be like this. But I don't know. Lisa can be so varied, and it's always changing, and who knows what's coming. I don't know. the thing that is known here is that there is a freedom beyond you that's got nothing to do with your life situation, with your conditioning, with your past, with your future. It's got nothing to do with anything. It's experiencing what's happening now. It's always been experiencing life, and it's here in everything. And it's so obvious that it's so intimate as well, like so obvious and intimate. It's the closest thing there is, that it's unrecognizable by the person. The person can't see it. It's that which is experiencing life now. So it might feel like you're experiencing life and that you're sitting there as a solid entity inside that body, those bodies. You know, if you have multiple bodies. I have multiple bodies. I sometimes change. I'm sometimes this body. I'm sometimes Khaleesi. Sometimes like to be a bee, a flower, a tree, an aeroplane. So you might think you're inside that particular body, and you might think that's your body and that your body is alive, and the reason that you're experiencing life is because you exist as someone separate inside that body, which is a really stupid idea if you come to think of it. Like, it's a very basic idea that humans formed, but that would be the way of things, that we have these bodies and that we're alive inside these bodies. An abstract idea, and that there's a soul or an entity inside of there, but we become so hypnotized by this that we think that's really the reality, that's really true, that there is somebody inside my body and that's me, and let me tell you who I am. And then you spend your life trying to define who you are, define the parameter of who you are. I don't actually have a stutter. Sounds like I do sometimes. I actually have word blankness. Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe that's what a stutter is, word blankness. I can't remember how to say the word. I think it's different from stuttering. It's not that I can't get the word out, I just can't remember the sound of it. Parameter. These awakenings tend to happen with this energy in the human of letting go. The human relaxes and stops trying to control all of this. Or sometimes it's snookered, which means it can't get out of things, and in that it surrenders. Doesn't really matter. All that matters is what is. It doesn't really matter what we say about it. Awakening isn't an intellectual thing, so awakening isn't this understanding that I'm passing to you about what it is or it isn't. You don't need to worry about getting the perfect understanding. If you're really concerned about understanding, then you can go out and read loads about non-duality and understand what all the modern or past teachers talk about. But that's not really what non-duality is at all, actually. It's just that understanding can relax a seeking inside the intellect, a seeking to try and define what reality is or what life is, or try to solve your heartache or try to find love. But that's not going to get you freedom, because you don't exist. So the one that understands never exists. It's a functioning. It's like a computer. Like, you know how like a computer has a memory, and if if I said to my computer, if I said, Siri, I don't think it's got word command on. If I said that and I asked him some information about what work I did today or how many hours I spent on the computer, he could inform me that. But he doesn't actually exist as an entity. That information only exists when it's asked of and when it comes in that moment. The information appears. But we look at it, even with the name Siri, we look at it and we personify it. We make it into a solid person, like Siri is a solid person that contains all the information from my computer, and that's him. And that's what we think we are, is that we're all this information inside the brain, and we're sort of sat in here holding it. And that when someone asks something, we can think of it in our memory bank and speak it. But actually it's like a machine that's just sitting here, and when it's not thinking about something, that doesn't exist. But when someone asks it, these electrons or something happens in the brain or in the body, we're not sure where thinking happens, and the thought comes up and the words come out. And in our brains, we put that all together as if that's somebody inside the body, where there's nobody inside the body. There is nobody having an experience. So all your thoughts and your memories and your ideas aren't contained inside somebody that's inside the body. It's like a machine here that's sitting, and when you say something or say, remember 10 years ago, the imagery comes up, the feelings, the smells, or the memory of the smells come up, and then you believe that you're in that or you're containing all of that. But that's not true. There's nobody that contains anything. There's nobody that's alive. There is this alive presence that's watching, that's not contained in any of that, but all of that is appearing in. So your true nature, that which is experiencing, is free of any feeling, of any idea, of any restriction. It's free of everything. It doesn't know a mother or a father or your name. All of that belongs to the body. It just watches innocently, experiencing itself, and it's so free and infinite. And it's made up of nothing. It's not a thing. It's not even something called consciousness. It's nothing, 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 nothing. And it is found in all things. So it's also everything, everything, everything. It's the smallest and the largest thing. It's the ugliest and the most beautiful thing. It's the naughtiest and the most well-behaved. It's the white and the black. It's the night and the dark, the night and the light, the night and the light, the light and the dark, the light and the night. It's ugly and beauty, it's hatred and love, it's all things. And it's so pure and innocent. And it's what everything is made up of. Everything. Everything. It's beautiful. This is the absolute truth, but nothing I say is true. What's being pointed to is the absolute truth, and it trumps every spiritual tradition. There is no spiritual tradition, and it holds everything. It rejects nothing. It holds the paedophile, the murderer, the other dark, other energies you can think of, and the light, bright energies as well. Nothing else is even on the same wavelength as this, you know, talking about emotional release or hearing the Father's voice, following the Holy Spirit, purifying your energy, higher consciousnesses, different realms. What else is there? Higher purpose. All of that means nothing to non-duality. Sometimes they all sort of like get lumped together as if they've got, like as if like those things are leading to non-duality in some way. But they're not at all. All those things are within the dream. And this is talking about the end of the dream and all things that appear in the dream. It's like the full stop. It's like the end of the search. It's like the end. You can't go any further than this. What else is inside nothing? But there must be something inside nothing. There must be something more than nothing. Something we cannot detect with our eye. Maybe. What happens when you forget about this? And that can happen at all different ages. Maybe some people never forget about this, we can't tell. It's not a personal thing, but it's that these bodies become so consumed by the dream of a person that it's so noisy that this is overlooked. And when this is overlooked, there is always a little taste of agitation, like there's something not quite right. And this creates a seeking dynamic where the person tries to fulfill that void that it feels having lost non-duality, wholeness, tries to fill it in the world of things, and it's endless. It becomes desperate for some people to fill it with money or lovers or necklaces or righteousness or ideas, intellect, success, creativity. And all there is right here, is right now. And the seeking energy is always trying to get to this future time when it will have arrived, when it will finally be whole, when it finally can relax. And the more that it seeks, the more agitated it gets, because it's like a habit. It's like a drug addiction. It grows that addiction and it feels more and more tight and restricted and identified with being somebody. I think this is the cure to everything non-duality. I feel like the Lisa character, if I say so myself, was going to be in for a difficult life if this realization hadn't happened. Like there was difficult conditioning that was appearing. And a lot of that conditioning, I did recondition a certain amount of that conditioning, but a lot of it really relaxed with the awakening, that energetic awakening. So it's still there, these wisps, and there's still tendencies that I work with and I pull back and I have to apologize for sometimes, but it's not like it was before this change happened. It was so intense before, it was so personal and all-consuming. I was so important. So, having said that, we can work on reconditioning. I can work on that with you. But really what I'm here to talk about is non-duality. I'm happy if you're really suffering to look and try and relax things. But really the answer to everything is that this is it. This. You're not going to find it in reconditioning. You're not going to find it in your dynamics. You're not going to find it in being enlightened or being perfect. The answer to all your problems is right here. And the last place you'd ever look. Right here. Yeah! Right here. This is it, baby. Baby. Let's see if I can. Baby. This is it, baby. Baby. I could never, ever, ever have done something like this before. Try to see if I don't think. Yeah. Okay. So let's see if we've got some questions. If not, then that's the end. We're going home. I'm joking. Hi, Whitney. Nice to see you. Nice. Hello, question. I used to be a writer, but got derailed when I started getting panic attacks and what I call drowsiness attacks when I wrote. Over time, I let go of my identity as a writer. I dropped seeking also, but I suspect that my avoidance of writing is an avoidance of discovering who I am. I guess I'm asking, should I just wait until I feel movement to write, however long that takes, or set rules for myself and require that I write something regularly? Do you have any take on this? Je suis une, I don't know how to say writer. I am a writer too. And when I was younger, I used to write a lot, like when I was younger, and like daily. And then when I had this awakening when I was 25, it all fell away for maybe 10 years. And I didn't take it up again till about 3 or 4 years ago when I had to, because a friend of mine was, oh yeah, complicated story. I had to get involved in my friend's project, and they needed a writer, and it was like they were in a desperate situation, so I had to do it. And then it started again, and I'd totally given up writing, like totally, like that was no longer a part of me. And before I was 25, I'd been quite successful. I'd won an award. I'd had a lot of readings of my play. I had won this training and scholarship and all these different things, and it was so important to my identity and such a big thing. And then I had this awakening. It was like I couldn't write anymore. I just couldn't do it, and I had to totally give up that identity. And it was really painful because I love to write, even though writing can be painful as well. I also love to write, and I love the creativity of it and the craziness. And that, the years went by, so that was 10 years, quite a long time. And then when I came back to it, it was like it hadn't left. And it was like I got a lot better. It was like now I was writing from a different place. Even though I hadn't practiced for like 10 years, it was like I got a lot better. It was like, I don't know. So my suggestion to you is to let it come when it's ready. I don't think I would have actually written if it hadn't been for that friend. But then when it started, it was like it tumbled out, like it was so much energy towards it. But it was so great totally giving it up. Like 10 years is a long time for a young person, particularly. As you get to like 90, 10 years isn't so much. It's like, oh yeah, another 10 years passed. Okay, thanks Whitney. Hi Trav McMen. I like your last name, Trav McMen. That's a little discerting. How did you know that name? Have I said that to people before? That's weird. Must have said it before on my live streams. My question is, can you please chop my head off? My life is terrible. I have no reason or want to even go on anymore. I understand, but don't get it. I know it's so simple, but I don't get it even though there is no me. Yes, in one of your videos you used it at a camp or something. Yeah, that's funny. That was funny to see that because it's something my mum and, well, my dad particularly used to call me. Lisa pizza, pudding and pie. And he just recently passed, so it was a little bit weird. I was like, Lisa pizza, pudding and pie. Okay, back to the point. Well, first of all, why are you going around telling somebody my life is terrible and I have no reason or want to even go on anymore? If I was a more foolish person, I would believe that I would be concerned or something. I would show concern. But because I work with so many people, I know that you don't just say that unless you don't really mean it. It's normally you say that sort of thing as an attention thing. If you really meant that, then you wouldn't say it. When everyone's like, oh, she's unsensitive. But I work with so many people, and when you get these messages all the time from people, like often it's about something else, and I want to point that out because psychologically, why are you going around saying that to people? What is it you're trying to get off them? Get off them. What are you trying to get from them? Like, understand your games. It's only polite. Like we blow our nose so snot doesn't dribble down, it's the same with your dynamics. Try your best to understand why you're doing particular things. It's only polite in nowadays society. 100 years ago, it was perfectly okay to be totally unconscious of your dynamics and not even know the word conditioning. But nowadays, we've had Freud for, 60 years in our society. It's polite to understand why you do things. I want to lose me. Oh my goodness, Trav. Come on. That's not a motivation. A motivation is between one human and another human. So motivation, so you don't say that because you want to lose your you. That's got nothing to do with me. You're saying that to me to affect me, Lisa, the character. You're not saying it because you want to lose your you. You're saying it because you want to have an effect on me. Surely you know that. Like everything we say is about affecting each other. So now I'm mocking you to try to not be so serious because you're basically saying I've had enough and it's terrible, my life, and I'm trying to put humor to it so it doesn't like sink everyone's energy and they're all like, ugh. Because I don't think it's serious at all. I think it's a game that you're playing. No, I want to lose Trav. So by you saying to me, my life is terrible and I have no reason or want to even go on much more, that's because you want to lose Trav. By you saying that to me, that's because you want to lose Trav. That in saying that statement to me, your motivation is that I want to lose the character Trav. Does that make sense to you? That is your motivation for saying that to me? Like, if you think about it, aren't you saying that because you want to have an effect on me? You want to emote me. You want to create emotion or something in me. So maybe you want to create a reaction where I do something to you. Okay. So I stop your character coming up anymore. Maybe that's your motivation. But I don't think so. I'm gonna have to growl at you like I growl at Khaleesi when she's up to mischief. She's making very funny sounds out there. No, it's just what seekers say to their gurus to help them lose the sense of I, like put your head in the tiger's mouth. My life is terrible, I have no reason or want to even go on much longer. Oh, that's what you say to gurus, is it? Man, what have these gurus been teaching you? I hope it wasn't me that taught you that. 1 second. Oh, well, I'm not a guru, so it can't be me. You guys should all learn to write plays. Maybe I should do like a course on like writing plays to like learn motivation. So if in a conversation, right, like there was one character, so say this is Trav, and then there's another character, and one character, like, so the way that you write drama is you write by people's motivation. So what is it that this character is doing to the other character? And that's how humans play. We're always playing that game, having an effect on the other person. So my effect is wanting to communicate love and also humor. I do have this attraction towards humor, but regularly I'm not seen as funny, but luckily people see me as love, so you know that works. But anyway, and there's also other reasons and motives, I'm sure. And these motives are undetectable. They just come up as urges. So they just come up as urges, and we're often very unconscious of our urges, and we become aware of them when they create difficulties in our life, or when we have an argument, or when we're doing like emotional recall or something. So so if you're writing a play, there's different techniques, but the basic, so playwriting 101 would be that you write a scene and both characters have a motivation. So one character has the motivation that he wants to get love and attention from the other character, and the other character has the motivation they don't want to give any love and attention. So this character doesn't want to give any love and attention. Let's do it like that. And this character wants to get love and attention. So the one with this, well, they both have big rings, but the one with this, what's that again? Turtle something. That one wants to get love attention, and this one doesn't want to give love or attention. We could have this one as, say, the mother, and this one as like the son. So, and this can be an adult. So he's like 20 and she's like 40 or something. So this one comes in, and the first statement he makes is, "My life is so terrible, I don't even want to go on anymore." My life is so terrible, I don't want to go on anymore. Now she doesn't want to give attention, so her response would be, so my life is so terrible. Oh no, this one. My life is so terrible, I don't want to go on anymore. Hang on, which was which? This was the son and this was the mother. Wants love, doesn't want to give any love. My life is so terrible, I don't want to go on anymore. And then say the mother could reply, "Why do you always do this to me? Why do you always blame me?" or something. Or she could respond, "My life is so terrible, I don't want to go on anymore." And then she could respond, Did you hear back from that job interview you went for? Now that's a very interesting start. My life is so terrible, I don't want to go on anymore. Did you hear back from that job interview you did the other day? And that's very interesting. And then it's like, did you hear what I said? I just said I don't want to go on anymore. And then she says, She could say something else, completely ignoring that statement. Something like, did you walk the dog? And the conversation goes on. This is how you create drama. So there's always an effect. So this is what we're always doing to each other. We're always playing, all of us. Now, obviously, I'm above the game, but you guys are all playing. That's what most gurus play, is that I'm above the game. I no longer have a game. I'm completely innocent of any game, but all of you guys do. I don't see it like that, and I think everyone does, everyone, including the guru. Why? Because when I was 24 years old, I decided to try and write the guru, and I realized that you couldn't have a character without motivation. Trust me, the guru has motivation. Even if it is to spread love or to express love. Like, I have a big sense of wanting to express love or wanting to express. And also wanting to help. There's other things. We could look at other teachers, but that's beside the point. Then what happens is that then somebody comes to see me, so say the other person comes and they say a statement like that. What do you think typically the motivation would be? On the absolute level, what their motivation is to get home. I'm not trying to get home anymore in my interactions. I feel at home, but I still have interactions like the want for pleasure, the want to express myself. But ultimately, the seeker wants to get home. It wants to experience wholeness. That's its ultimate goal. But in that interaction, Trav, I would suggest that what you're trying to do is you're trying to get my attention by saying that. By saying a big, bold statement like that, maybe your game is to get affection or attention for it. Maybe your mum gave you affection for saying things like that, or maybe she never did and you're still trying to be heard. Maybe you're trying to be heard. And ultimately, I love you. I know I've been through a lot of mocking because I really didn't think it's serious what you're saying. And I really genuinely wish you well. But I'm trying to point out to you in the best way I can that you're not going to achieve anything through that game. That game is a waste of time. It's not a wise game to play, to try to use those types of statements in order to get attention from someone. So go back to the source of it. What your original source is, that you want love, you want to get home, and just sit with that feeling. And you can also, while you look at that dynamic, you can look at how it formed, if it formed through your parents' relationships. But you don't need to act that out anymore. That's not a wise game to go and say that to people. But it's great that you did it. It's great that you exposed yourself and you let me use this as an example and you let me really talk about it. And I'm sure that was super informative to people as well. The way that you get home is in the center of everything. So it's in the center of that sentence. It's in the center of that feeling that wants someone to help them, that wants this authority figure to acknowledge them. In the center of that, I can't do it for you. No one can do it for you. It's this relaxing back into what you are. And this strength to not try to get maybe this necklace is making a lot of banging for the mic. To get others to give it to you. They won't give it to you. No one will give it to you. If I was saying that to a woman, that might sound naughty. No one's going to give it to you. But as you are as a gentleman and I am a woman, it's okay to say that sentence. Hi Sergey. Hello Lisa. This is Sergey from Belgium. I don't have any questions anymore. Why am I attracted to you? Well, it's the blonde hair, the black eyes, the lights, You know, the normal thing. Sexual attraction is a very basic thing. We make it into a very special thing, you know, predominantly based on smell. So attraction between it through a computer is a weird thing. It's a smell your computer emits when you look at me. So really you're attracted to your computer. Lisa, can you speak to what you really mean by body-mind mechanism as opposed to the Lisa Cairns character? I don't know, Dennis. Skeleton. Hey, Carmela. Dennis, I do not know what I mean, because I basically, when I talk, I just open the mouth and then the sounds come out and I'm not really that aware of what I'm speaking about. I don't plan it. I don't really have a sense of what I teach, even though I know there's a pattern to it, but I don't really sit there and think about what I mean. You'd think that I would have thought about that, but I don't. I've never thought about that. Let me just have a think about it now. I think maybe I think of that as the same thing. I mean, really, what's the difference? I'm sure I could find a difference in a different time when I speak about it. But in this moment, I mean, the body, mind, and the character are really similar. It's like the character is thoughts, which are based on the body, mind, which is conditioned, the genetics and the conditioning from the past. And then the character comes out in that particular pattern. The thoughts, the ideas come from the mind. The suffering part is the claiming that to be somebody that's inside the body. Big hugs and love. Thank you for all your pointing. Thanks, Carmela. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Lisa. I just stopped by to tell you that I've been watching every single stream since we talked in March. Oh, nice, Thomas. You are very precious to me. Time with you helps me sink deeper into myself. Maybe we'll talk again sometime on live stream. If I have any questions, I thought it was said if you have any questions, or I feel like talking about something. Yes, nice, Thomas. Thanks. Hey, Isabel. Hey, Thomas. Hi, Lisa. Good Sunday to you and to you. Just brilliant deducting, Lisa. Unbelievable. I'm not sure what that was related to, but that wasn't long ago. You wrote it. Hi, Enzo. I like the name, Enzo. Hello, Lisa. Thank you. A tree does not know that it is a tree. A bird does not know that it is a bird. So my question is, if a human knows is a human, it is a human. Sorry, let me read that again. So my question is, if a human knows, is a human the knows is the problem? I think it just needs a comma somewhere. Let me just work it out. If a human knows, it is a human. The knows is that the problem? If a human knows it's a human, is that the problem? No, that's not the problem. That's simply self-awareness. It's this energy that claims the self-awareness in the person, and says I'm a separate entity in the body that's the problem. Self-awareness is self-awareness. So we look in the mirror and we say, this is my body, as in Lisa's body. Our stories are so similar. It's been 10 years for me also, and I had some success before I stopped. Thank you for saying that, because I feel like I should be trying harder. I think you should, Whitney, let it come when it comes. Hey, Beth. What a beautiful white shirt you have on. It's quite off topic, but had to say it because it looks striking. Yeah, it is a nice one, isn't it? I don't wear it that often because I think it's a little sexy. You haven't seen the back. The back has a slit of lace down it. I'll show you. And I feel a little shy to wear it around town or anything, you see? But yeah, it's really beautiful. I like the lace very much. And it's very delicate as well. And I'm not such a delicate person. Like delicate as in like I catch it on the door or on my nails, those sorts of things. I have blonde hair, but white makes me look pale. Maybe it has to do with my skin tone. Oh, this is cream. This isn't white. I noticed that people that moved to warmer countries seem to get a better looking skin. Anyway, much love to you. I'm grateful for the relentless pointing. I don't know if you get better skin, but maybe the sun helps. You know, like the vitamin D. Sorry if you don't understand my English. I've been learning. I'm from Peru. It was really good. I think it was just missing a comma, Enzo. And I think you did a really good job. That's really complicated to speak about this subject in a second language. So I wasn't criticizing at all your English. I did just think it missed a little comma somewhere. But I pieced it together, and my answer is no, that isn't the problem. Hi. Aish. Y and U, we don't often have that in England together. Aish. I don't know how to say that. Hi Lisa, just wondering if you have any advice about anxiety for the future. Okay, I will answer that, but I'm just going to go to the toilet first. Okay. Just wondering if you had any advice for anxiety for the future. I recently developed some health issues, and there's a chance they'll be with me for life. I have to wait about a year for surgery, but there's no guarantee it will work. This causes me a lot of anxiety every day. I understand that what I truly am has already allowed this to be, but I just don't understand why it would allow such suffering. Do you have any thoughts on this? Thanks. Thank you. So you've got two different things that happen. You've got this energetic shift, which is beyond the person. And then the person has particular neural pathways in the brain. And I don't know if it's different chemicals. They also don't know where thoughts are. Thoughts could also be in other organs. But these particular thoughts, and when you have more positive thinking, so if you had the thought, I'm going to be super successful, or I am super successful, I'm really rich, I'm really successful, I've got everything I wanted, then these release positive feelings in the body. You have positive sensations that come with it. But when you're having lots of negative thoughts, like I can't do it, things are going to be really bad, I'm going to be ill, I'm going to have this for life, then the body is very, very uncomfortable. If you're also taking that personally, then that's an extra layer. It's like you've lost home, you really believe you're this person, and you really believe that you've got this sickness for life. So not only have you got the emotional discomfort of the negative thinking, you've also got the identification with that thinking that that's who you actually are. So there's two different things. It's not that you've got to make your thinking positive and then you'll be free. There's this attachment to that set of thinking that makes it feel like that's you and you exist inside this body and you're in a relationship with this huge world. And then there's actually the state of your brain and the state of the way that you particularly think. And some people have more positive thinking and some people have more negative, and it's maybe genetic, and it's also maybe cultural, and it's maybe the way that your parents think as well. So if your parents are very negative, then they've passed it on to you. And it's very uncomfortable to have very negative thinking all the time. It produces uncomfortable emotions as well. Some people say anxiety is hormonal. Some people say it's the activity of your brain. Now, there's all these different theories about what it is, and some people say drugs work, some people say it doesn't, some people say all types of things. It's past life things, it's karma, it's all these different things. Ultimately, none of us know. What I do know is if you weren't identified with it, that would be a huge freedom. So the seeing of non-duality, the seeing that who you are is this, is what is beyond that negative thinking, beyond that. On the thinking level, if you can attempt to recondition yourself to be more positive thinking about the illness, then that will improve your circumstances greatly as well. I'm going to show you how my best way to recondition yourself. But also you might find that for you personally, if the anxiety is really bad, that having an increase of serotonin works. So taking drugs or something, I'm not against that. It's you've got to find your particular way, but this is my way of reconditioning thoughts and feelings. So if I was ill, I would try to see it in a positive way. So I would look to what that illness is giving me, not what that illness is taking away. So first of all, you've got to be honest with yourself. You've got to say what it is you feel the illness is taking away. I feel the illness is taking away, say, my vitality, so my energy. I feel it's going to bring me bad things. And when you think that, see if you can find the place where you feel that in your body. So if it's in your heart area or in your torso, and just recognize it. It's going to take away my energy, my life. I'm not going to be able to do things. Just see where that negativity hits and acknowledge that. And just allow it to be there. Allow those thoughts and feelings to be there. And that's what you unconsciously are thinking throughout the day. And that's why you're beginning to feel anxiety and discomfort. Then I want you to say what you want. Even if it's I want not to be ill. I want to not be ill. I want to have energy. I want to feel full of life. And you've got to feel that. So when you say what you want, you've got to really believe that you can achieve that. So it's like you've got to feel it. It's not just a fake thing that you do. You really feel it. Really allow yourself to feel that. And then when you can really feel that positivity from what it is you want, I want to be healthy, I want to be fit, I want to be vital. Then you say, I am it, I am fit, I am healthy, I am vital. And then throughout the day, notice when you're going into negativity and just try to do that. You can do it quickly. Just try to recognize it and move it more towards positivity. This on the human level will relax the character and make you feel a lot better. But the ultimate freedom is not that part. The ultimate freedom is recognizing that who you are is this no thing experiencing itself as everything. Thank you for your question. Hi, Vadios. Hi, Ro. Happy autumn for you, spring for me. It's equinox, I don't know how you say that. So yeah, happy spring. Yeah, we've had a long hot summer this in Europe, so we're quite happy for autumn to set in. Hi Aishani, hi Lisa. I feel the sound are a little bit low. Oh, okay. Thanks for telling me that. Hello? Hello? I turned it down for somebody the other day. Hello? Hello? I just sat down with tea and you popped in fab. Tea and B with Lisa Cairns. Hey Sue. Hi Bia. Thank you for letting me know about the sound. If there's a problem with the sound, please let me know. Lisa, should I choose academic career that I already started, or should I choose to move to different city where I can see many people from my home country constantly? Hannah, that's something you've got to decide. Why are you trying to get somebody else to decide that for you? that shows me that there is problem with choice making there. So there's too much a belief that your external happiness will come from a future event. Your happiness is right here in this. Your freedom is right here in this. What you're really truly looking for is this. Not this or that. Not future, not something else. It's not a game, it's how I feel. You assume a lot but have no clue about, this is from Trav, about my life or my motives, but I thank you very much for your response. I have no want or attention. I really have no need for attention. I live alone and have no friends. I only go out to work, and at work I get picked on, bullied and humiliated daily. And I have a terminal illness. That's why I am not really scared of death. It's fine. But as of yet, there is no cure, so I am not really afraid of death, as what we are is eternal. But I live such a hard life. For what? There is no reason, I know, but while there is still a me here, it's like, why should I put up with this crap? I just go to work so I can have a place to live and food to eat, but have such a hard time at work because I'm a loner that it all doesn't seem worth it. Trav, you've got very negative thinking. You're not a victim to life. Everybody can tell a bad story about themselves, and everyone can tell a great story about themselves, no matter what. No matter if you're in a war zone, on what's that called? A ship when you are fleeing your country. I just saw one crashed again. Whether you're a multi-millionaire that's had infinite success, whether you're a drug addict, whether you're happily married with kids, everyone can tell a positive or negative story about their life. If you are getting bullied at work, why are you getting bullied at work? What is your game in it? What are you playing? I'm not saying it's your fault. Our men can be terrible. Humans can be terrible, you know, with bullying. But what's your game in it? What's happening with you in it? We can all tell negative or positive stories about our life. That's not all your life is. What about the sound of the birds when they wake you up in the morning? Or the warmth on your skin as the sun is shining? Music you can listen to? Your footsteps, the putting on your clothes? The humility that your illness brings you? What about all the other things in your life that are incredibly beautiful but you're not seeing? Or that time you have without other humans, living alone is such a joy. I live alone. We can all tell negative or positive stories. I don't believe your story is truth. I believe the story is how you currently see your situation. And I say that and I go like this because I know that somebody that points out our bullshit is in the firing line. Thanks, Trav, for your response. The sound is great. The sound is okay. It all goes silent. Hi, Pietro. Oof. Pi. Hi Lisa, the question is not really about non-duality, but I was curious, what do you think about losing my words, the exit from from Europe, Britain's exit from Europe, Brexit. I personally don't care anymore. I was really saddened when it first happened. I don't care anymore about the political stance. Personally, it affects my life a lot, but I don't care about the political stance anymore. I thought it was really sad. My generation and people younger than me were all born being part of the EU, and then suddenly it was said that's no longer. So it's like, imagine America, the United States, suddenly like California decides to be independent, and then it's cut off from America, and if you want to go to other parts of America, you have to have a visa to go to other parts of America. And maybe some of your family is living in Washington, but you're now like segregated by visas. So I thought that was really sad. I just thought it was really sad that it happened. And then after all the problems that there's been over it, I just kind of, and I think a lot of people are just tired of it. It's not really fair of a country to do that to all the companies and the businesses. Like for two years not know what the trade deals are going to be, and it being up and down like that, that's really hardcore. Maybe some businesses are profiting of it, but I can imagine a lot of the small independent businesses are under a lot of strain from it. But I lost the care of that part of it. What I do personally care about is that my mother is going to be in the UK and I'm going to be a citizen or a resident of another country, and that my max amount of time in the UK will most probably be 3 months a year. So if my mother ever gets ill, I could only spend 3 months of the year with her, which that now is the only thing I care about. The other parts of it, I'm like, politics. It's just got to be grateful you're not from Syria. Imagine the injustices are there when so lucky that my citizenship is from the United Kingdom and not some of the other countries. You know, like some countries in Africa or some countries in the Middle East, of what their governments do to the citizens and the businesses there. So on that side. But on a personal side, I feel really sad about my mother thing. It could be that it doesn't happen, and it could be that we carry on the same, but if that visa thing does apply, that is really sad as my mother goes into older age. But that's life. And I'm sure something else will flower from that, like it always does. There's a good chance that it won't happen. And I think it's very typical of the politics that this is what's going to happen. It's going to happen in a lot more countries, that they're going to want to become more segregated. Because it's change. It's hard for people to change as rapidly as they've been changing in the last 100 years. And all this change stresses them, so it makes them want to go back to their old ways. But at the same time, I'm so grateful that I was born in the United Kingdom and that I'm a European citizen. I'm so grateful. We are so privileged and lucky in Europe. It really, something like this, which is a tiny, tiny little blip compared to other continents. It makes you, it just you begin to remember or of what it must be like to be in less, I don't even know how to say it, less democratic societies. I don't even know if we're in a democratic society. I don't know, it's all very complicated, but I still really appreciate all the freedoms I get from being European. I feel like as a white woman, this is a very, very privileged time to be alive. So lucky, all the things that I get to experience and do, that just in the last generation, just in my mum's generation, wasn't possible. Yeah, I think it's amazing. Can we often forget that as Europeans? Just how privileged we are. We really forget it. We like to bash politics, but we really are living in the most privileged time ever to be alive. I'm not just pondering this. There's no more questions. If somebody has another question, everyone's stunned into silence. We live in privilege. But what should I do? What should I do with all this privilege? We're not privileged. Our government is terrible. Thank you for pointing that to me so politely. That's from the gentleman that Sergi that said, "Why am I attracted to you?" And I said, "The blonde hair and dark eyes." No more questions. We are done. I like the idea of European countries united together. Yeah, me too. I think it's a younger generation thing. I think if the younger generation had taken the vote seriously, it wouldn't have happened, but they didn't. They never thought that would happen. So I was a bit worried about the UK leaving the EU, weakening it somehow, the EU and maybe the UK too, but I believe it will all be fine in the end. Anyways, thanks for sharing your thoughts. Yeah, and they're making such an example of the UK, the EU, that the other European countries are not going to attempt to do it. I still get the sense that it won't happen. Like that we're going to have the UK is going to have another referendum, and if it does, it won't happen. The young people, every young person will come out and vote against it. It's the older generations that voted for it. It was silly. No one expected that to happen. Yeah, I think it was really heartbreaking for a lot of people. Like, because when you're born into the EU, it's like your country. Like you are all those countries, and it's really beautiful feeling. I would love it if we were like that with the whole world. Imagine if we had this no borders and open borders with the whole world. That would just be so beautiful, and that everyone has the same privilege and healthcare. Like in Europe, I know a lot of people, like in America and other countries don't understand this, but in Europe we have a health card where we can go anywhere in Europe and we present our health card and we get the cover of our health in all those countries. It's really beautiful. There's something so nice about it. Like sometimes I think if we had like an alien invasion, like we would unite together as humans, and it would be that beautiful feeling that you get when your continent is connected. Your continent is connected. This is from Trav. To chop off my hand means to help me lose my mind, to lose the sense of me and see life as it really is, like life in the now, I guess. You know that already. And most of your fans are attracted to you, that you can see in the comment section. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I think it needs some commas. This is my answer to everyone tonight. You need some commas. The first part, I'm not sure what you mean, and then the second, that the fans are attracted to me. I'm not sure. Well, I do understand what you mean by that, but I don't know what it means. Hey Lisa, after an awakening, there is sometimes a time of integration. Energetically, yeah, for sure. And that in a way, it's like infinite. Like the person and the character is always going to expand and integrate it. But yeah, after awakening, it can take a long time for the character to catch up. But then even after that, it can still expand more and more, like infinitely. Everything can expand infinitely. Where did you buy that stunning shirt? Maybe you think that it's not polite to ask. Human ethics vary so much. No, I don't find that rude to ask. I don't know where I bought it. I think it was a long time ago. Sometimes I have clothes for a very long time. I'm feeling like a Jenga game, put out a brick and putting it above. Haha, but I guess it's just my mind. Oh, Trav, it just occurred to me that maybe you've taken what I said like personally. Like, I don't mean it as a personal attack on you. If you can really hear what I've said to you, then take it personally. It could really affect you for the positive and really have a nice effect on you. I mean, you can see in the comments most of your fans love you or say that. And the first part was to chop off my head in the old spiritual metaphor for losing the mind or person. Yeah. Nope, you don't sound offended. Yeah, such a beautiful and noble idea to have an undivided or world. Always wonder why Norway twice voted against EU membership. Seems so regressive for a liberal country. 'Cause they're rich. They're rich. They don't want to pay the taxes on that, most probably. But they still have a lot of the EU laws. But I'm not exactly sure about what they are. I just know it from the exit thing. The English news, it's like all over the English news. It's so funny because after now 2 years, the English people can't even bear talking about it amongst themselves. So, yeah. Sorry, no sound. I got caught. I sometimes switch off the sound when involuntary sounds are made. I forgot to switch it back on that time. Okay, so Carmela, I just answered your question, and yeah, I just answered your question. Now it feels a little bit fake if I answer it again. Yeah, I will try to come back to you. Just give me a moment, Carmela, to get the energy to answer again. Yes, it seems like I'm waiting for the final burn of the ego. It will never happen. Forget about it, the final burn of the ego. We love that, beginning and ends to a story. It's a fiction, it's made up of the mind, of the imagination. This final burnout between me and the ego, between who and who. Who are you? This me and this ego. We love that. Beginnings and ends. There are no beginnings and ends. There's just one life expressing itself. Thank you guys for telling me. Yep. No sound, no sound. That's true. Part of the trade agreement only. But you're definitely right about the rich argument. Not wanting to share the wealth. Austerity is a huge political mantra for a long time in Norway. Are you Norwegian? I don't know where you're from, Thomas. It was like 3 minutes without audio. I couldn't hear. Yeah, okay, so Camilla, I do you again. I was meditating, just breathing and scanning the body, and started adding an I on the inhale and am on the exhale. But after a while it felt odd, and I switched them to am I, feeling more like the amness at the heart or essence, and compressing it into I to move out into the world. Does that feel right to you? I think whatever works for you. This feels strange, having already answered this a couple of minutes ago. But it's funny. Okay. So it's just whatever feels... I can't do it. Sorry, Carmela. It feels too fake to try to answer it again. I'm sorry. I got a little e, I got a little ooh. Okay, I'm off. I'm going to go and walk Khaleesi. Auf Wiedersehen. Au revoir. Adios. That's as many as I can do in different languages. Okay guys, thank you so much for all your questions. I love you all, and if I've been feisty with any one of you tonight, It's not personal, and I hope you can use that information to see beyond your limitations and where you're stuck. I love you. Have a beautiful day or evening, and I shall see you again on Wednesday at 6 p.m. French time. I see God in you. Goodbye. I'm just being a banana, but I do see God in you.